So Chief, I thought we'd take a minute and just address a couple concerns that we have been hearing on social media for the community.
Sure.
And first I want to start with the governor's stay-at-home order and the limit of 10 people in one place. Can you tell us how that'll affect the police department, how you plan on enforcing that, and what people should do?
Well, I will tell you first, Kelly. I think this is a great idea for just to touch base a little bit with the community. I couldn't be more impressed with the way the community's responded for the most part in this time of its uncertainty, and people are worried and concerned, and that's a question we get right often. I thought Governor Northam did a fine job when he was asked the same question: is how do we enforce that, and what is the penalty going to be? And for me, it's more of making citizens aware of what we're trying to do about the social distancing as we stay 6 to 8 feet away from each other. We don't want this virus to spread. I think that we're doing the best that we can, but we're in some uncharted waters, and I understand about closing the beaches and congregations not being around and separating. So for me, I think that our citizens get it. I want to make sure that our officers, if they see that or if we get a call about it, we actually got a call this morning, that we're responding and just reminding people of that encouraging others to separate and why. I think the message why is important. I don't think that we're going to have to go to the extremes of charging anyone in our city. I think that most of our residents get it, but I will ask officers, if they see that, if we get a call, that we would respond and just remind them of the governor's order and how important it is and why.
Okay. And as of yesterday, we've decided to close all of our buildings to the public. Can you tell us how that'll affect our citizens and community?
So I met with the city managers. We talked about shutting facilities down, and we looked at our structure in each precinct in the headquarters. Most of the walk-up traffic that we get from citizens, our employees are behind class, and it's passing information. Here's a report. The only interaction we were forced to have was fingerprinting, right? So we cut that early, but we left our lobbies open. But as the governor put out his press conference yesterday, we were all up here watching it together. We made the decision that to make sure that we're in line with that, and to show our agreement with how important it is to decrease any possibility. You know, I wish that we had a magic wand and this could go away. But how do we decrease the probability of something happening? We decided to shut down our lobbies of each precinct in the headquarters. There's still phones outside and buzzers that they can ring and get information. If they call the police, we'll certainly still respond. But for our employees and the public, for everyone's safety, and to coordinate with the governor's message that we are going to shut those, just to decrease the possibility of any spread and walk-up traffic. And I think it goes in coordination with everything else. And I will tell you, I talked to several other 3 different departments and asked them their thoughts, their opinion, and I think we're all in agreement. So we did make that decision yesterday after we saw the governor's announcement. That started at 8 o'clock today. It's very important for me that we have that interaction with our community. So as soon as we get through this crisis, they'll open back up. But for right now, we are going to close the 3 precincts and headquarters, the lobbies.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we know that we will continue to do our job here at the police department. What can citizens do to help us do our job and to help everybody stay safe?
I think just following what the recommendations are. I'll start with just making sure that we're washing our hands. We're wiping down areas, places that we work or we're interacting in, where you come into contact with other individuals. Keeping that 6 to 8 feet distance away from each other. One thing that would be very beneficial for us is if a citizen calls communications, whether it's 911 or the non-emergency number, and asks for a police response, and you see me just touch my face, I guess I shouldn't do that, right? But they ask for a police response that if someone is sick, or if they have been exposed to someone sick, that they would let communications know that. So when we send officers, that they're already prepared. It doesn't change anything about if we're going to send an officer or not. It doesn't make any difference at all. But you may see an officer stop, time's on our side, that they put gloves on and put a safety mask on before they have that interaction. Or if an officer is called to your location and an officer may ask you to step outside to talk to them where there's more space. This might take place in an apartment complex or a small quarters where they can kind of spread out a little bit. Or if officers take time and mask up and put gloves on before they go in, that citizens will be understanding of that. For the most part, I think we get that. So the more information they can share and just kind of keep that in the forefront of their mind. We actually did a video here this morning. I wanted to talk to all the officers. I can't hit each roll call on each day, evening and midnight shift in the different divisions. So we did a short video clip, and I just reminded the officers that these are uncharted waters. this is a new time for us, that citizens are concerned with finances, their kids are out of school, frustration that youth might have, businesses that are shut down temporarily. I could not be more impressed for the majority of how our citizens have responded. They have been extremely positive. Calls have come in. Several pastors have called and told us that they're praying for us. And is the way that the officers are interacting with our citizens. I just think everybody gets it. But we just need to take a deep breath, take a step back, and work through this together. But the more information they could give us, I guess, to try to answer your question directly, and be understanding is extremely supportive and very, very helpful. And that's the same message I try to send to the officers as well.
Okay, down in the media relations department where we monitor our social media, we have
You
seen,
guys stay pretty busy.
yes, quite a few posts about a truck driver that was parked in the
Yeah.
Walmart Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Can you address that and let us know what happened? And
Sure. So I will tell you this. There are a lot of important things going on, and our interaction with citizens is vital in what we do. But I am not going to get into a back and forth on social media. No one wins there, and I have much more important things to do to make sure that this organization is running, that I have people at work, that we're staffed, and that we're taking care of our citizens. Those that live here, work here, play, come and go. So I had heard about this post. As you know, each officer here in Newport News has a body-worn camera. They are a tremendous benefit. And the reason we went to body-worn cameras is to help with our reaction, how we treat citizens, and how to capture what we see in the community. So I had heard about this, I saw this post. And, the conversations that I had with you, I asked about it. I pulled up both body-worn camera footages of the officers that were there, and I watched them. I watched the officers respond to a parking lot where a manager was on site and had talked to this company and this individual and asked them not to park their vehicle there. So this Walmart parking lot, Sam's Club parking lot, there was a truck driver that had parked there, an 18-wheeler, that didn't drive for them. And I understand that they didn't want them parking on the lot. I also understand this. The truck drivers that are doing a phenomenal job. When I did my Facebook Live post interview the other day, we talked about they're working long hours, working through the night to get departments and communities, supplies, food, I get they do a phenomenal job. I have a couple friends in that industry, and it is not easy. It is hard work. But we still have to respond to calls. So it wasn't officers patrolling and they saw something, and hey, let's go over and investigate. We received a call from an individual who was on scene. You can understand the busyness sometimes. From an individual that was on scene and asked us they had asked this individual to move. Apparently, they had talked to this company before and asked them not to park there. So officers responded, and right away, the individual driving the truck. And I'm not going to mention the company's name. I'm not going to mention the individual's name because I want to go back. I'm not doing the back and forth thing on social media. I don't have time for that. I'm focused on concerns for our community. But it did bother me somewhat that some of the posts I saw and some of the individuals who follow us that didn't call and ask, that just said some of the negative things. That does bother me. It bothers officers because what was portrayed in those media posts is not what happened. And if I released that body-worn camera footage, that company would be embarrassed, and so would that driver. And probably some of the individuals that have sent in negative things about this department here locally that we serve and those abroad. I did call and talk to a magazine writer, and I wish I could remember his name. I think his first name is Tim. But he writes for a local truck magazine, and he asked me, and I shared this same conversation with him yesterday. The officers were extremely professional. They approached the individual. He started cussing at them right away. They told them why they were there, that they received a call. He asked them, well, we have to and I'm not 100% on the hours, but I think he said after 10 hours they have to take a break, and I would want to be taking a break after about 6 hours. But they talked to him a little bit, and he said, you want me to violate federal law? You're telling me I have to move, and the officers tried to work with it. They even suggested a few hundred yards down the road where there was an abandoned business that he would be able to park and shouldn't have any problems at all because the building had been abandoned and it was a large parking lot. But he didn't want to hear that. He just continued to berate the officers. He was very negative towards the officers, and the officers stayed professional. At some point, the officer said, sir, we've tried to work with you. We've offered an alternate suggestion. We were called here If you don't leave, we will have to charge you for trespassing because we have no other option. But they tried to work with him, and it bothered me the way he treated those officers. The officers, again, and the body-worn camera footage is clear, were very professional. He started cussing at them right away. But I'm not going to out that company, and I'm not going to out that driver, and I'm not going to do a battle with social media. My focus here is to keep the citizens of Newport News safe, to make sure that our officers are treating people professionally. That's the reason we have body-worn camera footage. And if I released it, people who posted would immediately, we might even get some apologies. But I understand, again, people's frustration. And you could tell when I looked at the video, the driver was tired, he was frustrated. But we did treat him good. We did treat him professionally, and it was just a bad exchange. But I cannot be more impressed with the way the officers handled it. But I don't want to get into a back and forth on social media, and I guess I'll leave it at that. I don't want to, I guess I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, I think that's it. Is there anything else you would like to add that you want the community to know now, or?
Sure. Just want the community to know that the police department, the fire department, our first responders, our 911 dispatchers, our city government, I've talked to the city manager, assistant city manager just about daily. The mayor has called several times to check on us. I just ask you to keep everyone in your thoughts and prayers, as we do as well. Our community is important to me. Our youth are important to me. I care about them, and I know this is hard. The citizens that I talk to when I see on the street, or the phone calls, the lady the other day who just called, and she was very concerned about, I don't know how I'm going to make it through. I've got stories of officers buying people food. I've got stories of officers picking up things at stores and delivering it to individuals. I've got body-worn camera footage of officers talking to citizens. We're trying to get through this together. The pastors of churches that have called and offered prayers just to let us know that they're thinking of us. I want to thank the citizens. I want to thank the citizens that are working with us, that are being respectful of the governor's orders, the governor's wishes, that are cooperating with the police department. I can't tell you that just yesterday we had a delivery of several items of food and coffee. Nobody sent donuts yet. That's probably a good thing. But our businesses that we're working with, we're staying in contact with. And I just want citizens to know that I understand. I have a family that's not here in Newport News, and I call and check on my mom and dad and talk to them a little bit. And they're getting cabin fever. So I understand those things, and I think we just all have to take a deep breath, take a step back, and get through this together. I appreciate the citizens' understanding and work with us. And again, I cannot be more impressed with the way our officers are handling this situation, coming to work, the way they're demonstrating behavior. Now, do we always get it right? No, absolutely not. We make mistakes, and it's okay to say that we're sorry, because officers' tempers are going to get short at times too and frustrate. These are hard times. But I think we work things through together and know at the end of the day, we're all in this together. So again, I appreciate the support from the administration, my partner, Chief Johnson with the fire department, Fran down in communications. Those dispatchers are doing a phenomenal job, and the men and women who come to work every day around the clock. There is no time off. There is no day off. If the citizens dial 911 in this city, they're going to get a response. And it's for me, I want the officers to be as professional as they can and treat people with respect, the same way they would treat their citizens. So I appreciate this community. This is a great city, and Newport News will get through this together. That kind of covers some of the things. I just think it's important that we talk to our citizens and they know a little bit. So, and I'm happy to answer any other questions or any phone calls or any entities that I can reach out to and spend time with.
Okay. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for your
much.
time.
Thank you.